tested positive for cancer, which led to my organ failure. But God restored me of my health, all for His glory. My name is Judie Mulonzi, and this is my story.
Life is a paradox, full of ups and downs. Though our choices predict our future, destiny has an upper hand since it is decided or planned by God. Judie Mulonzi, a sixth born in a family of 8, was brought up in a Christian family and believed in God who has their destiny.
As much as many went astray, I chose not to go astray. I looked at everyone, and my father used to really discipline the ones who went away.
Judie she's my elder sister, and we were brought up together. Me and Judie, she took care of me in school.
School was a must for Judie, and upon clearing high school, she was at liberty to choose a suitable career path.
I loved the Word of God, and I wanted to do ministry. Like, honestly, I was like, my heart was like, I just want to do ministry. I just want to serve God. I didn't think of careers. Of course, I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be a presenter. But I didn't manage to go to the media houses because my mind was so much focused on being a minister of God. I really wanted to preach. I just wanted to tell people of the goodness of God.
While in preparations to join the ministry, she met a family friend who changed her life forever.
And she took me through the other side of life that I didn't know. So we went for a friend's party somewhere else. And while we were there, I met there's this person who just came straight on my face, and he just said, "You know what, I want you for my wife." And I was like, "I think you're sick. You don't say that. You don't tell somebody like that." Because to me, I'm so courteous. I've not met the other world, remember that. So I don't know how to be arrogant. I don't know how people just approach you just like that. Because honestly speaking, to me, I was to marry a pastor. I want somebody we can hold hands and pray. Not this drunkard and this smoking person. This is not what I want for my life. So I actually brushed him off. I didn't mind him. So I was that good girl who could pick cups and, clean the tables, and everybody was like, we anafanya kazi mzuri. I was in a skirt, I was in a scarf. Everybody is dressed the way they want to dress, but I didn't care because I knew who I was. So at some point, the lady came and brought me some juice. "Hey, umeka sana hujakunywa juice? Try this juice, is nice." I'm like, "Umetoa wapi?" I said, "No, there's a lady who's come with it." So I didn't even think much. This is my friend. And then it's juice. So I took it. So after taking it, the next thing I remember waking up in someone's bed.
She was just taken for a ride. She was young and she was so charming, and always she was taken. So this man hid her somewhere at Italy, and now look for her. I sent my daughter, where is she? Then the friend who was with her told her, she's coming, she's with me. Now she's cheated. We didn't know where she was.
And then I was taken back home. And the minute he got home, it was not easy. My father just gave him a good blow and all that. We had to explain ourselves.
She looked funny, She's scared, she's not strong, she's not the one. Now I started fearing.
So he was told, now that this has happened, this has to happen. You have to marry this person,
By then, she had received an admission letter to join a ministry college in the United States of America.
I'm here, I'm pregnant, and I have the letter to go to Moody, and it was not easy. It is actually the most painful time of my life. Most painful. Actually, when I recap, I'm like, if I was to start my life again, I would go back to that time before, when I got my letter of Moody. From that time, that is when I can start my own life. I lied to my parents that I've gone to work, that I've been sent somewhere. So the same friend, same friend who gave me the juice, I went to stay with her, and she took care of me very well. But she asked me one thing. I want you to do one thing. If you are not ready for this baby, I'll take you to my doctor. We'll just do away with it. Nobody will know. I'll take care of you until you recuperate, and then you can go back to your work.
Judie understood the saying, "Where there's blood, there's water." two wrongs never make a right, and decided to keep the pregnancy. And just like that, she became a wife, a life she had no idea about.
We got married under Kikuyu customary laws, and voila, we became a couple. And I gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, 2003, 7th January.
I did not allow him to go with the baby and Judie. So we took my older sister. I told her, go with her, stay with her, because she's fearing to come to the house because of the father. She didn't want to see the father when she was expecting. She didn't want him to see her in that condition. We were together. The man took her to the parents with the son now. Then they were blessed and they were joined together by the parents. We met. We just did traditionally.
Marrying a stranger wasn't a bed of roses for Judie, and she paid dearly for her naivety.
I was, excommunicated from church. Actually, living with him was not easy. It was hard. It was really hard. It was really hard. I was really just faking it just to make sure that my father knows that we are fine, but we were not fine, because staying with someone and then they bring someone over home and they say they forgot they're married,
It's a life Judie hadn't figured out, and things were happening pretty fast. Before long, she had conformed to the patterns and systems running in her environment.
I was bought for a very big fridge, and he told me, this fridge is just for the food of the baby, your foods and all that. So, and then from one end, he had a lot of alcohol that he used to keep there. So one day I just decided, I'm going to take one or two. So that is how I started drinking. I started taking, because I want to stop thinking. I was feeling like I'm going crazy. Because number one, I also don't want to frustrate my father. My father was also not feeling well.
Her dad's condition wasn't getting any better, and one day he suffered an attack that saw him breathe his last. May his soul rest in peace.
We buried him. It was not easy, and that was the beginning of my depression. I even got admitted for depression because my ulcers were so much swollen. I could not even eat. I remember I had his photo where I used to sleep, and I could every day hold it until it was taken away from me. He's the one who took it away from me. And it just came a day, I just told him, you know what, I don't want to stay with you. I want to go. I mean, what is the purpose if my father is not going to walk me down the aisle? And we are here planning the way we are going to get married. I mean, who's going to walk me down the aisle? My father is not there. Another thing, this relationship was not founded well. So I had so many reasons to say, just to leave him, because I didn't want anybody. If my father is not there, anything I wanted, I just want to go home. Just to go where my mother is and my people are. That's what I wanted. And I tried to run away the first time. The second time, I was caught the first, the second. So the third time, I managed to run away. So I came home, he followed me, he was crying and all that, but I had made up my mind that I'm not going back, and I want to mourn my father.
8 years passed real quick, and Judie was already working with her mother at the center. One day,
I met someone else, and they came home, asked for permission to live with me, and they were ready to marry me. And yeah, I brought them to my mother. My mother gave that consent. So when I moved on, I lived with someone who was very nice, actually very nice. He took good care of me, and we were very happy. Very, very happy couple, very happy. I mean, like, he loved my son. Remember, I had a son, He loved my son as his own. He was willing to pay school fees, buy food, take him shopping, talk to him, everything. I mean, there are times I even feel jealous because they would go out. They'll say it's a boys' day out. So I'd be left in the house to watch movies. They'll bring me ice cream. And yeah, life was good. I was happy. I was just, once again, I was happy. And I started now healing pole. Until now, I discovered, I started getting sick. And he could not understand why I'm sick. Actually, he started asking me, why is it that there's a lot of food in this house, but you're not growing big? Like, bado ni mdogo. Why are you growing smaller than bigger? Actually, my son was the one who was growing bigger. Even him, he was growing bigger.
They were puzzled by her sudden weight loss, and before they could wrap their heads around it, Judie got an attack that got her admitted in the hospital.
Before she reaches the ward, there were so many bottles of water, tables, about 3, full of bottles of water, because the switch is drying up.
Tests were run, And at some point, the doctors were confused. And they were like, we don't know what's ailing this woman. Because today we find this, tomorrow we find this. It's a bit complicated. But all these allegations, I think of what, they are not actually matching up. There's something that is eating this girl that we must find out. So they called another specialist. So he came and then he started, that's when he discovered that I have cancer cells.
It was difficult because when I saw Judie, she was on her bed. She hadn't eaten for like 2 days. She hadn't eaten anything and she was sick. And I sat by her side that day. And everyone else rushed to the doctor's office because the doctor wanted meeting people. We were there, even our in-laws, a lot of people were there, my cousins. We ran because it was like an emergency. Because it was like, she's not gonna make it.
They were suspecting there was typhoid, not typhoid, TB. I was not coughing, but they suspected it since my HIV status was coming out positive.
And it was chaos because Judie didn't want to believe what the doctor was saying. My mother was trying to try to convince Judie, and the doctor was saying by next week she'll look for money to start chemotherapy because she'll be going for chemotherapy every week. But Judie basically refused.
The diagnosis terrified everyone as it seemed as a death sentence.
Actually, I could hear some nurses even say, oh, there are people who have even given up. They're even asking where they're going to bury her. Yes, that's what I could hear. And you know, when people talk, when you're sick and you're lying in bed and you're covered, everybody will assume you're asleep or you're deep in sleep because of the drugs. And I could hear so much. I could hear so much that people were planning where to bury me. People were planning where to take me from there because now my fiancé has run away. You know, he used to come the first few days, but he used to cry a lot. He used to come and just keep on crying. And remember one day I just told him, I'm gonna be fine, don't worry. And he looked at me and told me, you can't understand. And he kept crying until the mother came one day and just told him, he just spoke in Kikuyu and he said, you know what? I know you love her, but there's no way tutalipia mtu mahari and then we go bury her. We can't do that. If she was sick and then she gets well, then we take care of her, she becomes well, then that's fine. But now she's going to die. You've heard the doctors what they said. And it depressed him, actually. It did a lot. So most of them used to come to see me for the last time. They knew I'm dying. And everybody would come and be like, hey, by the way, she won't make it. They have seen her. She won't make it. Because I don't know, they didn't take me photos, but they said I looked terrible. I remember I called the nurse one night and I just asked her, what are all these for? You know the Karim that they run, that they put medicine. It's like, I was asking her every medication there, what it was for. So she was telling me this I just told her, take it off because I have a report that I'm healed and I need to go. My doctor just dismissed me. So she was like, your doctor has not been here since yesterday. In fact, we just called her and she's supposed to be coming back because they were not Kenyans, because we were not even understanding each other. So they had to do an interpreter to talk to her. So they said, I'm going mad and I'm saying I need to be discharged. And when they look at me, I don't look like somebody who needs to be discharged. Personally, I could not even walk. I could not even lift myself from the bed. I was so weak, I was just dying, like I was all bones.
Everyone had lost hope of her recovery, and one day she got yet another attack.
And she was almost declared dead. She was almost declared dead.
But they had already covered me. Like I felt the veil on the bed sheet on my head. And they said, okay, fine, you can prepare the people. At least I had already informed them that this can happen. So they are okay. So they could be ready. They know what is going on. And all that I'm hearing. And I'm like, okay, so I'm dying, like, is it true I'm dying, like, seriously? And I'm like, no, I have to fight. I have to fight for this. I'm like, I had to fight for my son. I thought about my son and I just had to fight. I remembered my mother who was seated there crying and I was like, I have to fight and come back. How are they going to live without me? And that is how I fought. I fought and after, I think, 10 minutes, around 10 minutes, that's what I'm told, 10 minutes, I came back. I just started breathing again, very heavily. So the nurse ran again. So when the nurse came, she was told, she was like, hey, what is going on? Then they uncovered me. Because they actually pronounced, I could hear time of death, nature of death, state of death. That is when I heard So when they came, I remember they came with a very big needle and they were pricking me everywhere. So to see whether blood is coming out. You know, I was like, there's no blood. She cannot be alive. She's still dead. But then at some point I opened my eyes and I said, I'm alive. And then the doctor now came with the oxygen, now running. No, we have to give her oxygen. What? They brought me back.
The experience traumatized Judie, and she requested to be discharged from the hospital immediately. But was her request granted? Find out more after this short break.
FamilyNews.Today provides an escape room from the clutter through our podcasts, from church escapades
get disappointed with God. And I think it's a misplaced anger.
to daily devotionals,
The beauty about God's love is that it was focused on all that God had.
to financial and life tips, bedtime stories for your child. All these and much more available just for you on FamilyNews.Today, on Spotify, Google Podcast, and SoundCloud. Insights at your fingertips.
Words are powerful, and we must remember that life and death are in the power of the tongue. At the verge of her despair, Judie spoke life, not knowing God was listening.
Judie removed the granules and the doctor said she's becoming stubborn. You look for maybe another hospital, maybe where she can get treatment. But Judie said, no, Mom, I'm not going home. I'm not going to another hospital, I'm going home.
When we came home, there was that problem now of eating. You know, there she was being given by veins.
So remember, I've been discharged and they're still insisting I could be having HIV, I could be having typhoid, so they gave me all those kind of drugs. So while I'm taking them at home, my body is rejecting them completely. Like I remember the time I was just sitting on the chair and I just fell. I just fell off. So by the time I'm falling down, I remember my brother used to come and sing for me. My little brother Eric used to come and sing for me, and you know.
So I remember this song. The song, I remember it used to go like this. Oh Lord, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will love to walk in your way. And step by step you lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Yeah. So I started singing that song to her. I reminded her of the Psalm 23. I reminded her of Psalm 50:15. The time of trouble, call unto me. I reminded her of a lot of verses, and I tried to stir up her spirit so that she could give up.
I'm here in the house, my mother is doing all she can. She could give me, I couldn't eat, she could like boil an egg, you know, just, and I mash it and then make sure that I swallow something. You know, because swallowing, like I've told you, I had lymph nodes. They were so painful. So my throat could not carry anything.
Even before she could cope with her condition, Judie was scheduled for an appointment with the oncologist.
She actually advised us to go to a cancer center. I remember we went home, and one day I just told my mother, I'll take myself. Are you sure you can take yourself? I said, yes, I can go. Because now I wanted to be strong for myself, because I realized if I'm not strong for myself, I'm going to die. And my son is going to get lost. I don't know where I'm going to get my son again. So I have to be strong for myself, people to realize that. Because remember, I had told God, this is me and you. You better make me up and out. I mean, I have to, my mission has to be accomplished. And it was not easy. I went to the cancer center somewhere at Tempisha, and I sat there, and I could see people get in and come out. You go in walking, you come out crawling. Others came out in beds with a drip on their hands. And I was like, why should I go there walking and then I come back sick? So I asked somebody who was there. I saw a door and I went and knocked a consultation, an inquiry door. And I asked them, let me ask you, what is chemotherapy? What happens in chemotherapy? So they were explaining to me, oh, whatever you're put through kills both cells, the good cells and the bad cells. And I was like, so what is left of you? Nothing. I was like, so why do people do this? Because I think it is wrong. No, you have to. Who said you have to? I said, okay, fine, thank you. I just said, thank you, closed that door and just walked out of that cancer center, never to come back again.
Discouraged, desperate, and sick, Judie was at the verge of giving up hope when she discovered unusual spots on her tongue.
So I had to undergo a tongue operation, something I've never had with my own ears. Oh my goodness, I've never had that. And that is the most painful operation you'll ever have to go through. Because they were scooping them out, literally. They were scooping them out. They actually sewed it again. Like I could hear them sew it like a cloth. My whole tongue was sewed back. And I went home and I started my journey of recovery. And another thing you should know, I never went for cancer treatment. After the spots came out, those to me were like, it was proof that it is out of my body.
She got healed in a miraculous way. Because I left her in the house, I went to church, and I used to go to the morning one so that I can come early to feed her. Because in the morning I have to feed her some milk, yogurt, and that juice, and the 2 eggs. And that Mugambi's medication is spoiled. When I give her by noon, she has to eat. So I was running to come and cook for her. To come in, I smell her pilau.
In fact, she cooked a lot of food for her. And she was like, who cooked all this food? Judie told her, it's me, Mom. It's me. Oh, you're well. Yeah, I'm well, Mom. And basically, that's how Judie recovered. And after some time, went back to the hospital, and there was no cancer. There was no cancer. There was no cancer in her. And it has never been up to date.
Their faith played a key part in her recovery, as her healing cannot be attributed to medical intervention.
We tried the medication, tried the doctors, we tried hospitals, but when came back to the Lord, knelt down, prayed, although she was telling me God is not looking at us, but I insisted to pray. I never cease to pray. Every time she talks about it, I tell her, let us talk to God. God is not looking at us. But I continued praying. So I want to thank God for all these things He has done, because what He has done, no man can do.
There's a God in heaven who loves me, and He has a purpose and a mission. And that is the purpose and mission that I have displayed in my life to live. Yeah, it's not easy. I'm really fighting it so hard because they even said I won't get a baby. And you know, the last time when I was leaving the hospital bed, I told them, I spoke to that bed. I told my sister, she was laughing. I said, the next time I'm coming to a hospital bed is when I'm giving birth. And you know, all of them came to witness when I actually was giving birth to my second born. Everybody came to witness. And they said, no, ulisema ukweli, Kambia, because I know what I'm saying. If I have a God who is alive and is a God who is a true God. And you know, a long time ago, I remember there's a time I was watching Family TV, and there's a gentleman who was actually giving his testimony of how God saved him. He was actually, I think he was a thief. He was a very bad person in the society. But currently, while he was speaking, he's somebody that everybody wanted to emulate. Everybody wanted to look at. Everybody wanted to be like him. And he was talking about storms that we pass through. You know, they're just there for a season. But when God wants to actually hold on to you, He'll never let you go. Even in those storms, He's still holding you up. And it was really encouraging me because, and I remember I used to watch those stories at the time when my brother was watching, and he told me, hey, why is Benny Hinn talking to me? Benny Hinn used to come a lot on Family TV. And he used to tell me, Benny Hinn is talking about me. I'm the one in the bathroom washing clothes in a blue shirt. And I'm like, yeah, actually that's you. You say there's a man in Africa somewhere washing clothes in a blue shirt. And he spoke to him. I told him, you know what, you're chosen.
Soon after Judie's recovery, the center her mom was running burnt down and nothing to salvage.
So we were just left with bare ashes on the land and nothing to pick or anything. So and by the time we are trying to reconstruct and think on what to do, the land was grabbed. So we had nothing. So the center was called Upendo Compassionate Center. It was taking care of the less fortunate. And we had programs like feeding, clothing, guidance and counseling, and also offering education.
Just like the psalmist said that his mouth shall speak the praise of the Lord, and his flesh bless thy holy name forever, Judie has since taken the Great Commission to be her agenda.
I've gotten into ministry and missionary work. I'm going everywhere, telling people of His goodness. And everyone I meet around, I always tell them what God has done to me. I can never, ever forget, because if it were not for God, I wouldn't be here, trust you me. Many have even gotten encouraged just by my story, you know, and it's something I don't keep quiet about. Everywhere I go, I spread the news. I tell people where I'm coming from. You know, I go to mission places and people ask me, oh no, you're just, you don't look like a missionary. You know, you're not supposed to come in all these hills. Like the other day we were in Voi and it's so much hilly. You know, they're like, why are you struggling with yourself? Let the wazes or the people who've lost hope in life come and preach the gospel. And at some point I was like, I wish you know the God I'm serving. I can even go wherever He leads me. Whether it's in the caves, whether it's to stay without food, I would do that because I know where I'm coming from. And this God that I serve is one God that I tell everyone just to trust on.
Now a mother of 2 sons, Judie believes that her destiny is in God's hands and that she has been restored for a purpose.
The pains of yesterday give me the strength of tomorrow. Every time I look back at my life and I'm like, from where I'm coming from and where I'm headed, I think I'm better off where I am. I don't think I can look back again. Because where I'm coming from was hard. Where I'm going forth, I know God has good plans for me.
In Judie's life right now, it's like, it's a second chance, or maybe God had purposed her for a bigger or for a better destiny or for a good and expected end that God purposed for her. Maybe right now, where she's heading, she's working on that. Maybe it's what God purposed for her. That's why she came back. God wasn't done with her.
And to anyone facing a similar situation,
remember, we don't belong in this world. We're just passing by. So at times when you're passing by, there's a lot of storms we're going to go through. And they're not going to be easy. So just hang in there. Just know that I know it's painful. I know it's not. You might be going through a lot of stuff right now that nobody can ever understand. But honestly speaking, patience pays, and holding on to God pays, because once He has you on the palms of His hand, His promises are yes and amen. At times we doubt it. Yes, I know. We doubt, we fear, but we should just follow what He says. He says, do not fear, do not doubt. I'll be with you until the end of time.
Judie is grateful to God for another chance to serve and spread the gospel. If you have a story you would like to share with us, kindly text us on 20316 or WhatsApp on 0786 316 316 and we will get back to you.